Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I am your host, Dennis Patholkis, and this is Saturday Morning Blast Off. Welcome, everybody. There's been some news, but not a lot of great news. It's been mostly stuff gearing up for Comic Con. Comic Con's a month away, San Diego Comic Con, by the way. Even though I shouldn't have to make that distinction because they won that court case, it is San Diego Comic Con when I'm talking about Comic Con, not New York Comic Con, not, Misswauga Comic Con, not Pigs Knuckle, Arkansas Comic Con, nothing like that. It's San Diego Comic Con. That's what I'm talking about, Comic Con. So pretty much people are waiting for that, except for DC. DC has decided to. No, there's some interesting stuff to talk about. Stanley Tweedle, there really is. And hey, welcome everybody in the chat who's here. There's some interesting stuff to talk about. It's just they're holding back on the big information until Comic Con comes around, especially Marvel. Marvel is really reining stuff in. Especially, it's kind of weird because they have a big Spider-Man movie coming out here July 2nd. And you hear Kevin Feige every time he's being interviewed about stuff. Well, we're going to talk about Phase 4 in a little bit. We're not going to talk about it now. So they are, excuse me, kind of chomping at the bit. They want to do it. They have confirmed that they're going to be in Hall H for Comic Con. Marvel is after being absent last year. So yes, Marvel said they are. Excuse me. God, I don't know what that was. Yeah, they said they're doing Hall H this year. So it's going to be big, especially now that DC isn't there. It's going to be a huge thing. Warner Brothers isn't going to be there, I should say. Warner Brothers, of course, got bought out by AT&T, and there's a whole bunch of information that's going on now. Stuff's getting canceled, stuff's getting moved around, and it's all because of this whole AT&T merger and some shit. I have some information on that as well. Jody says, "Yeah, you heard about how Fahey said that Marvel would be revealing stuff at their panel for yeah, I did. He's that's all he's been teasing for the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that. Have I watched Good Omens yet? I am stuck on episode 4, Jody. That's where I'm at. I fell asleep during episode 4, and that's kind of where I left it off. It's not really my cup of tea, as I've said before in other videos here. It's like a poor man's Monty Python. I likened it to Monty Python Mania, kind of like Beatlemania was, where it's not Monty Python, but they're trying to be, and they're failing at it pretty miserably. I get where they're going with it. There was one thing in all the 4 episodes I watched so far that made me laugh, and it was when I can't remember the character's name now, the demon character, when they're looking at Noah's Ark and there's a unicorn that's making a break for it. And he goes, Shem, hey, the unicorns aren't enough. Ah, never mind. You still got one left. That was the only thing that made me laugh out of all of this that I've been watching so far. And yeah, Crowley, thank you, Pen Farm Girl. Yeah, the unicorn was the only thing that made me laugh. The entire thing. I've got to finish it off. I've been putting it off. So yeah, I think that was episode 3, Jody, if you're right. Yeah. But really, everything else has been just a poor Monty Python sketch, and just wasn't doing it for me. Sorry. The Christians are against Dennis watching it. Actually, they're for me watching it because they want me to cancel it, is what happens. So, in case you haven't seen, pretty much everything that I watch that I love, that I review, gets canceled, obviously. Yeah. Not great, but the Christians do actually want me to watch that stuff and stop talking about it. Thanks. Jody says Tennant's portrayal made me think a demonic 10th Doctor and made me miss him on Doctor Who even more. He and Sheen have a great dynamic. Yeah, they have a great a really good dynamic going, but it's Monty Python-esque. The writing is and everything else. I know where Gaiman and Pratchett took. Well, Gaiman is the one who's been writing the script on this one. He's the one who's been babying it along, and all he's been doing is just following along the Monty Python sketch script, if you will. And it's not done right. It's not done as Monty Python. You're never going to be able to capture Monty Python again. And yeah, it just wasn't really doing it for me. Sorry. It's okay. I'm not hating it or anything like that. It's just I'm kind of indifferent to it, to tell you the truth. Jody says Gaiman and Pratchett were actually channeling their inner Douglas Adams when they were writing the book. Yeah, and I'm not a fan of Douglas Adams either. Sorry. I know everyone's like, "Oh my God, how can you be that?" Yeah, sorry. That and The Hobbit. The whole Lord of the Rings stuff just doesn't do it for me. It really doesn't. I want to repeat, do not watch Dark. I don't want it canceled. It already has been, Stanley Tweedle. From what I understand, the third season supposed to be the final season, and I didn't touch that one, so that wasn't on me. I remember hearing something about that recently, that they got renewed for a third and final season at Netflix. And that is pretty much how things are going now in TV land, is that everything, it goes in 3 seasons and then canceled. 3 seasons canceled. Unless you're the Tick, then you get 2 seasons and canceled. Yeah. Speaking of the Tick, since I've already got it out there already, yes, the Tick was not able to find a home. All the actors, their contracts have expired to be picked up again. So Ben Edlin, last Saturday, actually Saturday, last Friday night, I didn't see it during before the podcast, before the Saturday morning blast off last Saturday. And essentially they're done. They're completely done with the Amazon version of it. He will, of course, try again in some other channel, but yeah, there we go. Did I watch Jessica Jones season 3 yet? I don't know, Jody. Did you see the review that went up that I did about Jessica Jones season 3? That's up there on my Netflix folder. Yeah. In other words, I'm saying yes, I did, Jody. Yes, such a shame about the Tick. So many good shows just getting axed, while we'll just say not so good shows continue to get renewed. Orville. Yeah, exactly. I only have 4 under my belt. Yeah. Yeah, no problem, Jody. I know there's a lot of stuff out there. I cover quite a few things too, and I get lost in it too. If I didn't schedule it out, I wouldn't know. There are far worse renewed than yeah, this is true. There are, exactly, Pen Farm Girl, like Star Trek Discovery. Or Picard, or yeah, there's some other things out there too. You just couldn't resist making that Orville reference. Yeah, hey, you know what? I'm not like some other channels who like to just jack off all over the top of that Orville. Uh, yeah, I won't say names, but yeah. So, and yes, that was a visual image, I know, but hey, there we go. The zingers just keep coming. Yes, they do. Let's get to some of the news here while I'm at it, so I don't really zing too much here. What do we got here? So I already talked about the Tick, that it's officially done. So yeah, and I'm going to let some more people trickle in here, and I'll go over some of the lesser news first. How about that? I already talked about Marvel returning to Hall H for Comic Con. I talked about that as well. There's some stuff that's happening at Comic. Why don't we talk about Comic Con a little bit? It's a month away. Yes, I'm going. I just got my pass in the mail, and I was disappointed. There's 4 pins that you can get, 4 enamel pins, and of course the one I didn't want, which was the toucan, which I think is just a stupid logo. That's the one I got. So now I have to go and hunt down the stupid badge booth, and because it's in one of the hotels or something like that, and I have to buy my other pin that I want. So the 50th anniversary one that I want. Yeah. Will I be doing live streams from the floor? I probably won't be doing live streams, Jody, just because the bandwidth there is really, really, really small, because you have 150,000 people all trying to stream from the floor at the same time. But I will be posting videos. I will be posting a lot of pictures as well. So if you haven't signed up already, sign up for my Instagram, Suspended Fanimation. You will see a whole bunch of stuff. You may even see short videos popping off of there as well. But I am going to be doing full-length videos of panels, things like that, which I will be uploading to this channel. And I am going to try and get to the Marvel panel. I doubt that's going to happen. That usually fills up really quickly. People camp out overnight for that one. It's pretty damn hard to to get into. That's all I can say. Yeah, people camp out overnight, and I'm just not willing to camp out overnight for that kind of stuff. It's not worth it, quite honestly. And there's so much more stuff out there. There's no chance of using a pocket Wi-Fi or Wi-Fi boosters on the. It's really not. It's right there on the water, Jody. So it is literally at the end range of any kind of cellular signals and stuff like that. Even though they put cellular tower boosters in that area, it's overwhelmed by the amount of people that are there. You also have Petco Park going on there too. Now, granted, they don't have any games going on at that point. They actually reschedule them away from Comic Con, which is smart. But you still have people that are just a looky loos that are also in downtown. So you don't just have those 150,000 people at the con that are using up bandwidth. You've got like another 200, 300,000 people that are just downtown just for the outskirt stuff because there's stuff literally like a mile or two around it and even further out. All of San Diego gets involved in all of this. It's a big moneymaker for San Diego. It brings in, I forget what they said. There's a couple, it was like $1 billion or more dollars just for that 4 days, 5 days, the week that they're here. Dennis will only stream from the floor when he's drunk. I never get drunk at Comic Con, quite honestly. It's just not, there's too much stuff to see. What I do want to get though, SpongeBob SquarePants, it is the 20th anniversary. They're going to have a huge recreation of, the Bikini Bottom, the town and all that stuff. They're going to have a recreation of that. It's going to be huge on the floor. And the cast is going to be there. The voice cast is going to be there because they are doing a special 20th anniversary live. Well, not live, excuse me. They're going to do a live action version of SpongeBob SquarePants with all the voice actors acting as their characters. And I'm actually kind of thrilled about that. Yeah, again, background in marine biology. I love what this world that was created. Rest in peace. I forget his name, Steven. I can't remember his last name, unfortunately, the creator of SpongeBob SquarePants. Bring your scuba Steve suit. No, no. Streams in the restroom. Yeah. People who do that are just assholes, quite honestly, Stanley Tweedle. I know about that. I heard about the Twitch stream from was it E3, that guy who did it said, "Oh, I didn't know you can't film in the restroom." Dude, there are fucking lawsuits about this. They're all over the place. If you're that stupid, you shouldn't be doing any kind of broadcasting whatsoever. So, yeah. I see you're making the most of your time before you go. Yeah, well, movie Fanobi is not one to mince words. Yeah. Exactly, Stanley Tucci. It was at E3. It's really stupid that someone just went into the bathroom and started recording. I mean, and that no one said anything to him. That's the whole thing too. I would have been like, "Get that fucking camera out of my face before you find it stuffed up your ass." Yeah. So, unless they're trying to banish ghosts of the Gozerian. Like a table read? No, they're not doing a table read, Jody. They are doing a full-on acting. It's going to be a whole episode of them. They're doing an episode as their characters, but it's going to be a live action, not at Comic-Con. They're doing this as a special episode. I believe it's supposed to be like a 1 hour episode, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, Jody. Some guy on Twitch did this for he's I guess he has a lot of followers on Twitch, and he did this in the bathroom at E3. Don't ask me why. If you look it up on the internet, you will find that this guy got banned. I think he got his Twitch account stripped, if I'm not mistaken. I think he got banned from there because of it. So, hey, Joe, how's it going? But yeah, and the other thing I'm looking forward to as well is there's a new Admiral Thrawn book that's out there written by Timothy Zahn. And it's supposed to be canon, I guess, because remember what Disney did when Disney bought out Lucasfilm and all the Star Wars rights, all the Zahn books suddenly became non-canon so that they could actually go back and pillage them. They own the rights to them still, all those books, but they did it so that they can actually pillage all the stories off of them. And Zahn's still writing for them. I don't know why, but he has a new Admiral Thrawn book that's out there along with an audiobook. And there's a special cover for these things, and they're giving away like a USB drive with the audiobook and all kinds of stuff. And I was like, yeah, I'll pay for that. Sure. I'll go and see that. But the SpongeBob SquarePants one, I'm totally in on that one. I'm looking forward to this whole, world that they've created. When they go big on a floor, Nickelodeon always does go big with their booth that they have. They go all out, and it's awesome. It's usually pretty damn cool. So maybe they offered to pay him a lot. Oh yeah, they did. They wheeled that back truck, the dump truck full of money up to his door and just dumped it out there. Is this going to do for you? No, no, bring the other dump truck in. Okay, there we go. Okay, now I'll do it. Yeah. So, the weird one that got me was Top Gun Maverick, the sequel that no one asked for. What is it? 35 years later is coming to Comic Con, and I'm like, why? It has nothing to do with sci-fi. No aliens, no, special powers, no superheroes, no horror, nothing like that. It's a fucking military movie. Well, why are you bringing it here? Oh, because it's a testing ground for Hollywood, is what you're saying. So, and because you're going to bring Tom Cruise in, then people are going to come to. Yeah, I get it. But yeah, it's just basically a panel that's going to take away from. Yes, I know Tom Cruise is an alien. We already know that he's Xenu. Um, it's going to take away from other panels that would have benefited from not having that, waste of celluloid there. So yeah, exactly. No one wanted it, Pen Farm Girl. No one asked for it. Go big on the floor. Sounds like one of Pepper's live shows where she kicks hard. Speaking of Pepper, she is out right now at the vet, probably knocked out at the moment. And yeah, she's getting her teeth done, and then they're working on both ends, is what they're doing. Yeah. Am I too late for Tiny Lobo? Tiny Lobo, yes, Tiny Lobo was on Wednesday. And I guess people don't like that I'm ripping into Tiny Lobo. But I mean, come on, man. If you're going to be portraying a character where you don't wear a shirt and all you're wearing is a vest, do some ab crunches. That's all I'm going to say. Cut back on the beer or the soda pop or whatever the hell it is that you're eating, and work out those abs. Get that ab roller or something like that. Do some crunches and yeah, and lose whatever that accent is. I don't know what the hell you're doing, if it's Irish or Australian or Portuguese or Swahili or what it is, but dude, stop. It's bad. Loan him your ab roller. I don't have an ab roller. That's why I have a gym, which I don't go to, obviously. Damn you, Tiny Lobo. Exactly. That was, yeah. So yeah, I don't know what the hell they're doing with with Maverick, the Top Gun Maverick. And of course, Jay and Silent Bob are going to be there. They just announced that the Jay and Silent Bob reboot movie, they're going to show it at Comic Con. And it's like, great. So let me guess. Kevin Smith again is going to recount about having to write about a giant spider or something like that in the Superman movie. We've heard the story, man. We've heard it. Oh, that's right. You almost had a heart attack. We've heard that story too. Just please stop. No one wants to hear it anymore. My favorite story is I'm waiting in line for Hall H, and as you're getting closer and closer to the front of getting into Hall H, they announce what you're waiting in line for next, what panel you're waiting in line for next. So you're outside essentially. You're under a cover, a big canopy on some lawn, and they say you're now waiting for the X-Men Dark Phoenix. You are now waiting for blah blah blah, and we're out there or waiting, and they say you're now in line for Kevin Smith, and we said no, we're not. And you see a good 30-40% of the people just leave and get out of line. It was pretty damn funny. Yeah, he did have one good line. That was it. Penn Farm Girl Lobo did have one good line. That was the crap town. Yeah. Jody says, "Was this Krypton? Krypton? Yes, it was. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's worth watching this season. Would have preferred if Brad Garrett had done the voice for Lobo at least. Why didn't they cast a wrestler or a bodybuilder for Lobo? Because they needed someone who was cheap and unknown, and they got both of those in this guy. So, excuse me. No one was waiting for Dark Phoenix. Exactly, Stanley Tweedle. No one wanted it. It's just a remake. Yeah, Jennifer. That's right. Jennifer Lawrence was, so it could be over. Spoiler alert. I think everyone knows by now. If you watch the commercial, you see what happens to Jennifer Lawrence's character. Psst, she dies. She gets killed because there's a funeral and everything. Yeah, there you go. And if you don't know who Jennifer Lawrence is playing in that movie, more power to you. And I envy you. So on to one of the bigger topics here. So DC has announced yesterday that they're going to rebrand in January 2020. That means that Vertigo, the Vertigo title, is going away completely and is going to be absorbed into this rebranding. So the three titles that are going to remain are going to be DC Kids, which is 8 to 12 years old, DC, which is 13 and up, and then DC Black Label, which is not an alcohol, it's actually a comic, and that's going to be 17 plus. I'm wondering if it's going to come with a new logo because DC likes to rebrand with a new logo every couple of years, from what it sounds like. And uh, I'm not really, keen on this. I understand. So this is again, Time Warner was bought out by AT&T. They merged together. AT&T now is doing an assessment of all its assets. That includes DC Comics, Time Warner, DC Universe, because DC Universe is part of that as well. And they are making cuts where they think it's appropriate. They are putting stuff together. This kind of leads in also to DirecTV Now. I used to be subscribed to DirecTV Now until they started raising their rates really exponentially, and that's because of AT&T being assholes that they are. Well, they had sent me some box, and I forgot to grab it. I have it sitting. I can see it where it's at right now. And it was supposed to be this new streaming box so that you can, get to DirecTV Now. And it was supposed to be a beta test and all that stuff. And I was like, all right, I'll be a beta tester. That's fine. It's a free box. It's not a big deal. Well, it turns out now that DirecTV Now is going away. DirecTV, which was a satellite-only service at the used to be, now is going to be a streaming service, but it's going to be a slimmed down streaming service because they are trying to push the Time Warner app. And the Time Warner app is actually a amalgam of HBO Go, Cinemax, and Time Warner movies and TV shows. Where does that leave DC Universe at this point? Is that DC Universe is more than likely going to go away and get absorbed into this whole Time Warner app. I'm not happy about that because there are a lot of things that are on DC Universe that are actually pretty damn good. Swamp Thing being one of them. That got canceled, unfortunately. Doom Patrol, we haven't heard anything about, which more than likely is going to be canceled. Young Justice, which has the second half of its third season coming out next month. And, we have a whole bunch of other stuff that's coming down the line here, which more than likely is going to be canceled. Titans, yes, you notice I didn't mention Titans because Titans is not one of the things that I liked off of DC Universe. But this is all stemming from AT&T. AT&T and their CEO, who wants, as he puts it, all he cares about are people that are elites that will pay extra money for half the service of what they're getting because they have the disposable income. That is pretty much what he's looking at. He doesn't care if he's offering a good service or not. And it's going to come back and bite him in the ass if people actually wake up to this and stop paying for shit. Hey, Mr. Roboto. I know it's boring what I just talked about right there, but it is kind of an overall view of what the hell's going on. And exactly, Move, movie streaming stuff is getting crazy. Many YouTube vids are sponsored by many products that we all want to promote subscription services. We should get more of our money, not less. Yeah, we should get more, getting more for our money and not less. Jody says it leaves DC Universe high and dry. No wonder there are rumors it's going to be 86th. That sucks. Just when it looked like it was gaining steam, to AT&T CEO should go fly a kite. AT&T CEO should get his lead parachute and fly out of a 86 story window. Is what should happen because he just sucks. That's all I'm going to say. He doesn't want fans. He wants people who don't care about money. Exactly, Stanley Tweedle. He looks at it as a gym membership that people have forgotten about, or Netflix, where people have signed up for Netflix and you've been in it for so long that you forgot that you have it, but you watch it occasionally here and there, and you're still paying for it month to month. That's what he wants. So, what is today's sponsor? Today's sponsor is Jack Daniels. No, it's Wild Turkey. That's what it is. That's what today's sponsor is. Yes, exactly, Joe. AT&T plus TW equals twat. It does. I like that. That's actually pretty damn good. So yeah, I mean, and then also getting rid of a title, an imprint, Vertigo, that's been around for 26 years and has given us things like Preacher, Swamp Thing, uh, the list goes on and on and on. And I mean, come on, man, why? It's for something called DC Black Label. Seriously? Yes, I understand. Comics are not in the state that they were even 5 years ago. They are dwindling hardcore at this point. Um, that's you should be doing something to boost that up a little bit. Again, there are so many things that are vying for people's time, especially young people's time, young people that you want to get into comics and boost that thing up, and it's not going to happen because there are so many other things that are vying for their time. Video games and their money too. So, video games, YouTube, what I'm doing right now, streaming stuff and, podcasting, things like that. Kids are getting more and more into that every day, and that is taking out their time. They're not going to go and read comics. They're not even reading books, really, for that matter. So I understand why the comic industry is dying a slow and painful death. Jody says he clearly doesn't understand the streaming service business model. Then he should be looking at Amazon and Netflix and emulating their best practices, not doing his own thing. He's looking at what HBO Go, people were paying a lot for that, but then they were dumping it. He thinks that people will sign up for, oh, you have a Game of Thrones coming on. So people all sign up to watch Game of Thrones and they dump it afterwards. He is looking at short term gains. He's not looking at doing a long term thing. That's all he's looking at. He wants to boost up money for now, not for later. And that's what this guy's MO is. Stanley Tweedle says, I downgraded Netflix when they raised the price, so I'm not the target demographic for Warner. I'm not the target demographic for Warner either. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know where this all, leads us to. Wild Turkey and comics is entertaining. It is, Joe. It really is. Swamp Thing could be black. Yeah, Swamp Thing could definitely be Black Label. It was a Vertigo imprint at one point. So yes. Jody, at this point, Amazon Prime looks like a better deal. You'll get so much more for your money than Netflix. You're not getting that much more, quite honestly, Jody, and it's expensive. It's if you break it down per month, it's $12.99 a month. And so this Time Warner app, they're looking at $16 to $17 a month. You get HBO Go, Cinemax, all the Time Warner stuff, movies and TV shows. Now, if they add DC Universe to that, it's kind of on the fence. If you already don't have HBO and Cinemax, which I already have in my package, my cable package, um, I don't know if they're going to give a discount to people that already have it or what. Jody says that's a ridiculous way of looking at this. Streaming is the future. He needs to be laying the groundwork for long-term growth. Streaming isn't some flash in the pan. Exactly. It's something that's here to stay. Mr. Roboto says, speaking of streaming, The Boys, you watching? It's not up yet, Mr. Roboto. July 26th is when The Boys comes out. And they just released a Red Band trailer as well. If you don't know what a Red Band trailer is, it's 18 and over. is what that is, and it has swearing and some gore in it, and it looks good. It looks really good. I'm actually really jazzed about it. And I know Derek Robertson is too. Derek Robertson's one of the co-creators of The Boys, and I follow him on Twitter. I've talked to him a few times as well. Great guy, and he is just really, really excited about what's going to happen with this. He's seen, you know, of course, this season what it looks like, and it's going to be awesome from what that sounds like. And he's not one to blow things out of proportion. He will call crap crap. So I'm looking forward to it. Ah, let's see what else we got here. Um, I was sleeping alone always. For okay. Yeah, the A train scene was very graphic. Exactly, Stanley Tweedle. It was very graphic. I was kind of surprised that they, which I know there's another scene in the comic, which I'm not going to name, but they are doing it, and it's something with a bunch of superheroes surrounding another superhero. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah, supposedly they take scenes from the comic and recreate them. Wow, that's all I can say. Just wow. I'm surprised that Amazon went that route, but I'm like, hey, all right, man, you can do it. Yeah. So speaking of streaming services, the streaming service Stars Play, which yes is owned by Stars, Lionsgate, all that kind of stuff, has picked up the UK rights to Deadly Class. Now, what does that mean? So what that means is if Deadly Class does well for them, it could be that Stars picks up Deadly Class. Yes, because so right now Deadly Class is actually done by Sony TV. TV and Lionsgate have always had an agreement or some kind. They've worked together quite closely. And I was surprised that Deadly Class didn't just get picked up by Stars immediately, but it makes sense that Stars Play, they're kind of testing the waters to see if it plays over in Europe first. They already know it plays in the US and that people are paying for it in the US anyway for sci-fi. So they will, if it picks up in Europe, they'll probably pick it up for a second season and work it. Pen Farm Girl, honestly, Deadly Class doesn't feel like a fit for Stars. None of those shows I want say feels like a fit for Stars. More Outlander. Um, I don't know. I mean, American Gods, you had American Gods on there. So right now, Stars, all they have in their original network that's working for them is American Gods, and even that is problematic because of their showrunners. And don't be surprised if you hear that they get canceled after season three. They have a season three already. They've got renewed for that already, but I don't see anything going on beyond that. In Outlander, Outlander is the show that will not die. It just keeps going on. I thought it was supposed to end at season four, but I don't know. It just keeps going on. Excuse me. Pen Farm Girl. So the Stars, the same idiots who ripped Counterpart away from us, saving Deadly Class isn't enough to make me forgive them. And they also got rid of Ash versus Evil Dead. Don't forget about that, Pen Farm Girl. So they got rid of Ash versus Evil Dead and Counterpart. Those are the two shows right there that made them dead to me, even though I still have them as part of my cable box service. Yeah. Deadly Class is more of an HBO thing. I don't know. I can see them being at Stars, to tell you the truth. Yeah, Ash is still a painful thing. I agree with you, Pen Farm Girl. I still can't go back and rewatch the third season. I just can't. You know, that's how much how much of a sting it is for me. Maybe they want to extend it to teen romance in addition to the mom romance. Well, the teen romance stuff in Deadly Class isn't what takes the front seat. Stanley Tweedle, it's a lot more of the violence, and they excel with that. I mean, they do have that going for them. So, in the 80s nostalgia. Right now, that is Stars demographic. Stars demographic skews older. They do not skew younger, they skew older. So, excuse me, having an 80s nostalgia, if you will, Late 80s, early 90s would work for them. Wouldn't Deadly Class be a much better fit with Amazon Prime or Netflix? Um, I think it would get lost in Netflix, to tell you the truth, Jody. Amazon Prime, maybe, but I don't think it would stick around on Amazon Prime. They just changed program directors, Amazon Prime, and they are looking at more. I'm kind of surprised they picked up The Boys, quite honestly. I am very surprised they picked up The Boys. And that was something I wouldn't think would be on Amazon Prime at all, especially in its current form where they're going straight comic book with it. And especially done by Seth Rogen and Evan Goldman. Goldman. So I'm very surprised by that. Mr. Roboto, to be fair, Ash is probably going to get only a few seasons. Not really. If they had kept the original showrunner, Mr. Roboto, and not fought with him like Robert Tappert did and let him do what he wanted to do, it would have had at least 5 seasons, maybe even 6. Yeah, Black Sails was screwed up to begin with, Jody. It was just one of those shows that was like, eh. I tried watching it. What happens with the Conan series? Is that still going? Who knows? No one's heard anything about that in a while. I know they keep talking about it and trying to do something, but I don't know where that's going at. So is this program director isn't keen on the comic books? I don't know, Jody. That's the wait and see thing that we have to see. More than likely, she will be looking at. If I remember correctly, the last program director was ousted due to sexual inappropriateness or something like that. Surprise, surprise. That's what's happening right now in Hollywood. And she was put into place. And I don't know where she stands on this, quite honestly. Yeah, Dante, yes. I tried watching Black Sails. I really did. And other than the nudity, it had really nothing else going for it. It was honestly, it was Skinamax is really what it was with pirate themes. That's flat out what I took out of it, quite honestly. I never got into the story. The story was just kind of boring. Although it is kind of weird to think, so Nora Allen, the girl who plays Nora Allen on The Flash, she was in Black Sails, and she's, like, nude in that thing, like, 80% of the time. So, it's kinda weird seeing her on a family-friendly show and just going, "Oh, no, no, that's weird." Jody says, Black Sails had a promising start, but kinda went off the rails with, like, season 3 onwards. The story just yeah, you know what? It like I said, it didn't get into the story fast enough for me, I guess. Um, yeah. Stanley Twill, question from HR: are you for or against sexual harassment? Yeah. I'll say this because I think the statute of limitations, and it's not for me, honestly, it's for somebody else. There is a professor I used to work with in another school in a long ago place who used to call sexual harassment training a how-to seminar. No, that's wrong, man. That is just wrong. This is a guy, of course, who actually had sexual harassment charges brought up against him for things that he has said. So that's all I'm going to say. Thanks, Joe. That's a lot of information that I needed from you. So, Pen Farm Girl, sometimes I do. It depends on the situation and what toys are involved. Jody says, when I saw Jessica Parker Kennedy on The Flash, I couldn't separate her from the role in Black Sails. It was awkward to say. Yes, exactly, Jody. That's what I'm talking about. It was one of those things that I'm looking at her and all I can see, because the first thing I ever saw her on was on Black Sails. And I'm like, I can't separate you out from that. And yeah, the Flash is family friendly kind of thing. And it's like, you were naked too much on Black Sails. And that's, I'm expecting Nora to kind of take off her clothes at some point here. And it's not right. One of your professors kicked out for misusing the sleep lab. Well, you know, he was sleeping just with other people, right? Yeah. Anyway, I digress on that one. I kind of went off tangent. which is what happens here. So, speaking of Conan, we were talking about Conan before. Red Sonja, the Red Sonja movie that was in works over at Millennium Films, under Bryan Singer, and Bryan Singer is now ousted because, again, sexual misconduct finally has caught up with that motherfucker. Bryan Singer has been ousted by Millennium Films, and they have brought in the transparent creator, Jill Soloway, to write and direct Red Sonja now. So that was just announced this week as well. Um, I don't know. I never watched Transparent. Uh, how this is going to translate over from a drama to an action-oriented comic book heroine set in the Conan era. I don't know if she can actually do that. If she can do action, if she can write for action, sorcery, it's a sword and sandal is basically what this is a sword and sandal, sword, sorcery, and sandals is what this is. And I'm not sure what they're going to do with that, if it's going to work or not with Jill Soloway. Yeah. Mr. Roboto, I'm never going to let you guys know if I'm wearing pants or not. So that is the question. Is Arrow family friendly or supposed to be? Yes, Arrow is family friendly. Even though he kills people. But yes, it is. It's supposed to be. Yeah, they should have cast someone else as Nora. I agree with you, Jody. It just she was too typecast at the time. It was too close. Maybe in a couple more years when black sails has kind of faded off in the distance, over those black sails have gone over the horizon at that point, and you can't see them anymore. Then you can cast her for other family friendly fare. But right now, no. All we see is nudity. It's the same thing like Spartacus, when some of the guys that were doing full frontal male nudity, and then if they went into a family friendly thing, it'd be the same thing. I'm just like, dude, uh, I've seen too much, and I don't want to see any more of you at this point. That's kind of how it goes. Yeah. Jody says, are they going for something serious, or will they just be going more campy Xena type show? I think they're going for something serious. Millennium, or for Millennium Pictures, is supposed to be going for something serious. Jody, on that, they're not going to go for campy. They would get killed if they went for something campy, because people are really wanting a serious Red Sonja, serious, Conan, all that kind of stuff. They don't want campy out of those, out of those properties right now. Jody says, I think maybe they cast Jessica Parker Kennedy because she did play Plastique on Smallville, so maybe that's why she was cast as Nora. Maybe. Well, yeah, I mean, she did have that. Yeah, she did have the CW pedigree, but she was trying to get away from that whole CW pedigree by doing black sails and the nudity. So she wanted to do more adult roles. I think when she got done with black sails, she was kind of typecast and couldn't find anything. So she went back to the CW fold and they accepted her in, but it was too early on. And again, I hate to say it, is a typecasting. Once you do something where you're doing a lot of nudity, yeah, you couldn't go back easily to friendly family fare. That's all I'm going to say. Red Sonja wears a chainmail bikini, no sexual harassment. Well, they're not gonna be having her in a chainmail bikini, trust me. Not with Jill Soloway writing and directing this. She's gonna be in full armor now at this point, or at least some leathers and all that kind of stuff. Is that why Steve Miller failed on The Gifted? No, he failed on The Gifted because The Gifted just sucked. And also he's just a horrible actor. Yes, Sheena is Marvel. Mr. Robot. Wait, is Sheena? No, actually, I think Sheena is DC. Yes, I think Sheena. No, wait, Sheena is Marvel. That's right. Sheena, Queen of the Jungle, is Marvel. It took me a little while to remember that. Because he was naked on HBO. No one watched that show. Come on, Mr. Roboto. I kid. Yeah, Jody, that's my whole fear of this, is that they are going to go completely woke with Red Sonja, It's going to be very timely, as they say. It's going to be a little too much a product of the times, and it's going to be mired in it. So 10 years down the road, whenever it comes out, it's going to be very, very dated to the point where you're going to see a reboot happen within like 3 years of it coming out. That's where my fear of it is. Whenever you cast or hire people on according to political and social pressures, is where you get your problems. Yeah. And it's not to say you can make improvements on a character and still be within, you know, changing societal viewpoints, things like that, and still make it better. I'm just saying, if you immediately shift as far as possible into whatever the flavor of the month is, political wise or whatnot. Take a look at iZombie episodes 1 and 2. That's all I'm going to say right there. Those two episodes right there are completely dated and suck balls because they're completely political and a product of the now. Um, so yeah, it's not good. Yeah, not exciting. There were some toned men on that show, Mr. Roboto. Yes, there were. Ask Slurmy. I'm kind of surprised Slurmy isn't here. He might have missed that I was starting at 9:30 and not 10:30. So he might be a little bit late. Yeah. Let's see what else we got here. Excuse me. There we go. This one's actually pretty good. Oh, I, oop. And of course, I am not going to be able to answer that, which is fantastic. Yes, they're calling about Pepper at the moment. So, and yeah, that's not going to happen at the moment. So, well, I'm almost done fairly soon anyway, and I will call them back, but we'll wait till then. Anyway, what was I getting to? I was getting to Eliza Clark, who is the showrunner for Animal Kingdom, TNT's Animal Kingdom, is the latest showrunner to come on board FX's Y the Last Man after the team of Kroll and Green have left. Now, this is the third showrunner for the show, or fourth, actually, fourth showrunner for the show. Second showrunner for the show now that it's in production because they've already started filming stuff. And yeah, that's all I can say is I don't know where this is going to go. I don't think it's going to be good, to tell you the truth. It's never going to end well. Jody says, yes, Dennis iZombie does have some dated material, but the humor kind of saves it. Though it does have some cringy moments. Have you seen this season? Yeah, I've been covering this season, Jody. I have an entire album of nothing but iZombie. You got to take a look at my video library that I've got there, Jody, and see what's going on there. I was being quiet because I like Black Sails, is what Slurmy. And that's fine, Slurmy. I understand. You just liked it because of all the pickle shots. I understand. And you know what I mean by pickles. And they're not dills or gherkins either. There you go. I'm going to take this time to do a little in between break and say if you like what you see here, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. You can hit the dislike button. Just go down inside the comment section. Tell me what it is you didn't like about the show. Give me some constructive criticism, that kind of thing. Also, if you're on the fence about joining up, you're going to see a video at the end of this thing that pops up here that is going to pick a video from my video library based on what you've been watching. And if you like what you see there, then hit the subscribe button and the like button as well. And now back to our previously scheduled program. Hey, all right. Conan and Red Sonja in hallways talking about feelings, fully clothed and sipping Zimas. Exactly. It was touch and go until episode 4, Jody. Not a consistent season, but I like it. Yeah, iZombie's been this season's been kind of weird. Although last season they did, or excuse me, last episode, they did bring a major event to a major explanation, I should say, to everything that's been going on, and they needed to do it. Yeah. Let's see. You're a pickle. I'm a pickle. Pickle Rick. I'm Pickle Rick, bitch. Sorry, that was a combination of Pickle Rick and Rick James. I'm surprised they didn't do that. And I think about it, I'm surprised Dan Harmon didn't do. I'm Pickle Rick, bitch. That would have been funny. But anyway, ah, so Rebellion is the company that now owns 2000 AD, the comic book company, and they also own Judge Dredd. We've been waiting for them to do a sequel to Dredd, the Carl Urban badass movie that he did for Judge Dredd, which was awesome. Well, they put together $1 billion in funding so they can start doing their own films, and they are going to release their first film called School's Out Forever. Now, what this is, a post-apocalyptic movie. Um, Not post-apocalyptic. It's actually as the apocalypse is happening. So it takes place after aliens have pretty much wiped out a good majority of the population of the planet, and a kid that survives finds out that the only way he can survive is he has to go back to school that is, there's nobody there, of course, to survive. And that's what this is called. It's based on a comic. It looks fairly interesting, and I'm interested to see what they're going to have in that with that. If they are going to follow 2000 AD comic stuff and put those on the screen, like Rogue Trooper, they're doing with David Bowie's kid, Jones, Duncan Jones. There we go. He is actually working on Rogue Trooper, which is going to be awesome, just because he's involved with it. But I'm looking forward to see how they're going to do this first movie and how it's going to play in out in the theaters, how people are going to like it. Jody says, not sure how they felt the way they tied up that event to a certain character they introduced this season that is related to a certain main character. I'm okay with it, Jody. I'm okay with what they did in iZombie. And it makes sense. I mean, we never had that character actually spelled out or even talked about in any of the seasons, and then to bring it in, sure, is it a waving of the hands kind of thing? It is, but it does make sense, and it works. It shoehorns in fairly nicely, I think. It's spelled urban, not urbane. Urbane, urban. I've heard it pronounced so many different ways, Stanley Tweedle, that I've given up. Depending on when you listen to me, I will say urban. I'll say urbane. I'll say urban. Yeah, I'll say it all kinds of different ways. So yeah, potato, potato, tomato, tomato. Let's call the whole thing off. Could an Inhuman show work for Fox instead of X-Men? No. So none of those shows should be run on any of the big networks, quite honestly. No Inhumans, no X-Men, any kind of mutant show should not be done on any of the network shows. They should be done on either Amazon or Amazon, quite honestly, because Amazon's the only one that has, or Disney Plus. Disney Plus has the money to do it, and they are willing to pump the money into it, quite honestly. Um, ABC does not have the money to do it. Um, NBC definitely doesn't, and they also don't like supporting sci-fi shows at all. They move them around. Take a look at Timeless if you want to see an example of something that was low budget but really good and got screwed just because they got moved around so often that it was like they were jumping through time, quite honestly, about how much they got moved around. And CBS, the less said about CBS, the better. And Fox cancels the show at a drop of a hat. So no. Try a New Zealand accent. I can't do a New Zealand accent. Sorry, Stanley. I really can't. Jody says, I guess, but it does feel a bit convenient that the character is tied into that investigating incident, but fair point. Yeah, a lot of this stuff is, Jody. It's their last season, and they, of course, are wrapping things up. So I'm fairly sure it's still going to wrap up with a nice, happy ending and a big bow tie on it. Bow ribbon tie, bow ribbon. Yeah, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. Germany won World War II. What happened, Stanley? Oh wait, no, they didn't. They didn't win World War II. That was a different thing altogether. Jody says, or fantasy comic book stuff that, for that matter, NBC didn't know what to do with Constantine. Yeah, Constantine is a perfect example. It was horror and it needed to be graphic horror. You cannot show that stuff on NBC during prime time. And you need to have, again, a DC universe, an Amazon, something like that, where you can show blood, gore, all that kind of stuff. Case in point, Swamp Thing, the last episode, we had a guy stuff his hand inside of a what is it? A grinder, one of those sink disposal. Thank you. God, my brain is not working today. He stuffed his hand inside a sink disposal while it was going and held it in there. And it was pretty damn graphic because when he pulled it out, it looked like a whole bunch of severed hot dogs just kind of dangling off his hand. That's what I'm talking about. That's what you need to do for Constantine, that kind of level of gore. And it just doesn't work on NBC. No, it works on DC Universe or whatever it's going to become. But they never went to that kind of gore on Fox either, Mr. Roboto. They weren't allowed to. So they might have pushed the envelope a couple of times with a couple of naked butts, but that's about it. Nothing, nothing to that extreme. So, let's see what else we got here. Oh, Avengers Endgame is getting re-released in theaters most likely next weekend because this weekend, of course, we have Toy Story 4 coming out, and Disney does not want to step on the toes of its own production company that is bringing it out with new footage. So the new footage is actually going to take place during the end credits now. Supposedly, it's supposed to explain a little bit more about some things. I don't know exactly what. Am I going to go and see it? More than likely, I will. Unless I hear about what the end credits are beforehand, and then I go, nah, it's not worth it. Yes, it is a money grab. It is a money grab, Dante S. I agree with you. And yes, they are trying to kill Avatar's box office record. And I hopefully, rightfully so, because Avatar does not deserve to be at the top of the list. I'm sorry, it really does not. It's not a good movie. Does not hold up well. Unobtainium. That's just as ludicrous as Cameronium. Jody says, and to think they introduced a Spectre on Constantine could have been a great spinoff for Constantine too, but NBC was wrong for the wrong fit for the show. Yeah, exactly. Same thing with Swamp Thing. They've introduced Blue Devil, and Blue Devil is one of those characters who fits into that whole dark universe, Justice League dark universe kind of thing. Pen Farm Girl, Dennis, did you hear about the Spider-Man Far From Home credit scene leak and who's coming back? No, I didn't, and I haven't bothered to look into it. I heard that there was an end credit scene leak. I don't want to know what it is until I go and see it. It's not that far away. It gets released on July 2nd. I can wait till then. So. Yes, and I love Future Man. I'd rather see Future Man as well. Pen Farm Girl. That had a great story. Superb naming of MacGuffins. Yes. No, you're talking about Avatar. No, the that unobtainium is just lazy writing. It really is. I mean, the whole movie was lazy writing. Really, really lazy writing. And yeah, just it was bad on so many levels. Future Man actually did it one better with the Cameronium, quite honestly. Yeah, Blue Devil. Well, did they introduce Etrigan? I don't know if they introduced Etrigan yet, because that is Jason Blood. So Jason Blood hasn't been introduced as of yet. I would love to see that. That would make sense. Who's Space Pocahontas? Dante S. Yes, Future Man does have great writing. I mean, just very, very smart, funny. And again, the writing is just amazing on that. It really is. Dancing with Smurfs. Yeah, exactly. So my last two little bits of tidbit of news here is both on casting news, and it's both for DC Universe, believe it or not. So we got the first pick of Joshua Orpin, is his name, as Superboy on Titans. They released a tweet about it, and there's a little picture of him. He looks like the Young Justice version of Superboy. He wears the black T-shirt with this, the red S, the red Superman S on it, and he's wearing jeans. He looks like a live action version of it, or a cosplay version of it, if you will. And I'm all right with it, quite honestly. I know they're going to be bringing in some other characters, like this little character named Aqualad. Yeah, so they have hired on from Pretty Little Liars. I don't know, I never watched the show. Drew Van Acker is his name, and he's been cast as Aqualad for next season for Titans as well. And it looks like they're getting together the whole Young Justice crew on this. They're doing a live action version of it. Hey, I am Saya. I am Saya. Yeah, there we go. Hello, welcome. You did make a live broadcast. Nice. And yes, Jetty, I love the Gone Gone, the former man, arise the demon Etrigan. I love that he rhymes, that the demon has to rhyme everything that he says. And I think there was a Batman comic, as a matter of fact, where he kind of fucks with the demon a little bit and tries to get him to rhyme something that you can't rhyme, and he remains silent because he can't do it. He's just kind of fuming about it. I thought that was actually kind of funny. Yeah, the demon is one of my favorite characters, as you can tell, right up there. That's where he's at. That is one of my old figures that I have here. And that is a cloth cape that he's got going on there. Times are usually terrible giving him across the pond. Yeah, I usually start at 10:30 a.m. my time. I am Saya. So you would actually be right on time for one of my normal live broadcasts. I just happened to go an hour earlier today because of stuff that's going on with the dog. So, is this the Calderum version of Aqualad? No, it's not, Jody. The guy who's playing him is completely and totally Lily White. That's all I'm going to say. So no, it's not the son of Black Manta and one of the, you know, Atlanteans. Yeah, I would have liked to have seen Calder myself because Calder is one of the better characters in that whole thing of having him related to Black Manta and that whole thing that happens in Young Justice, which if you haven't seen it, that's my only spoiler I have on it. It's already been out for years, so quite honestly, yeah. If you haven't seen it, go and freaking watch it. As a matter of fact, if you sign up for DC Universe, I think between now and I want to say it's July 8th, something like that. You end up getting put in the running for 2 free passes, hotel rooms, accommodations, all that kind of stuff. And you get put in line or first in line to get stuff signed by DC people for Comic Con. So they give you passes for 2, airline fare, hotel accommodations, all that stuff, just for signing up for $8 a month. All you do is sign up for 1 month and you're good. And you get to watch all this stuff as well. No, I think this is the lame version of Aquaman. Yeah, the one that I don't like. So Stanley Twill, I think it is that one. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I would love to see a live action version of Zatanna, Jody. I would love to see, and I'm talking about the Paul Dini version, the Paul Dini comic version, which he did. Excuse me, which was set in San Francisco and was an awesome comic. I can never recommend that comic enough. If you can find it, if you can find the volume of it that's out there, read it. It is one of the best written, and again, it's Paul Dini at his best. It's Paul Dini doing what he does best, and it's a great story, great storyline, and just a fantastic look at the character as well. I am Saya says, I've been wondering since the channel got started, was there a falling out? Yes, there was. Basically because of the direction that they're going in now and the direction I'm going in. So I don't like talking about the same 3 things over and over again and hate watching stuff. I actually like to be positive about the stuff, and they do not. So that's where they're at. and I wish them good luck, and that's all I'm gonna say about it. Jody says, honestly, I'd wish they'd do a live action version of Young Justice. The writing on that show is phenomenal. Yeah, a live action version of that would be awesome. I think that's what they're trying to do with Titans, but they're saddled with Akiva Goldsman right now, and Akiva Goldsman is one of the most horrible screenwriters known to mankind, and he just needs to go someplace else. Stan Twill says, sorry, I'm not informed about superhero comics at all. Totally casual there. That's fine, Stanley. I will delve into comics every now and then as much as movies and TV shows. But there are some really good comics out there, some really good storylines out there. That's why I'm saying I'm pissed whenever I see the same couple of stories, the same couple of movies keep getting remade over and over and over again when there's so many good stories out there. Again, there's a whole shelf of shit behind me right here that could be made into decent movies and TV shows, quite honestly. Jody says, yeah, hell yeah. Fun fact, Paul Dini is so into Zatanna, he married into a real life stage magician, Misty Lee. Nice. That's actually cool. Yeah. Uh, Jody, they need to 86 Akiva already. He's sandbagging. Yeah, he is. When you can tell what the line is that the person's going to say about 30 seconds, 40 seconds before they say it, it's bad writing. Yeah. That is kind of awesome. I didn't know that about Paul Dini, that he married a real life stage magician. That's pretty cool. Ah, she's also a voice actress. Okay, that's probably what happened. Yeah, he is. So Paul Dini, there's a really tragic thing about him is he got mugged. I want to say it's like about a decade, maybe 15 years ago, and it was a really bad mugging. I mean, he got the shit kicked out of him. He had a lot of PTSD about it, to the point where it affected his writing, it affected his career a bit. And he did not like going out as much either. So he was a lot of more of a. This is all everything I've read, I've heard about that kind of thing. And he's been working through that. It really sucks that that actually happened to him, because he is one of the most talented writers out there. And I would have liked to have seen him take the lead on Titans versus Akiva Goldsman, to tell you the truth. He would have been perfect to be the showrunner for that. Jody says, also, Titans is supposed to be upbeat, not all Snyder esque. I mean, come on, Teen Titans isn't Watchmen. Yeah, the whole fuck Batman thing. God, no, no, you don't need to do that. And then what is it? They hired some 60, 70-year-old actor from Game of Thrones in order to play Batman now? What the fuck? Ah, so yeah, Jody. Yeah, exactly. I am a lot happier now. There was a lot of stress involved in the other thing. So, and yes, there was a lot of things that weren't going right. Let's just say, or I should say, things were going a little too right, and I was not in that frame of mind. If you catch my drift. So. I am Saya. Okay, makes sense now. You have to admit a lot of the CW shows are partly hate watching. Yeah, I don't cover CW shows here. Uh, I I don't cover them just because I know that I don't like them in that manner. I like watching them for some of the stuff that's in it, but I only cover shows that I'm gonna like and that I'm gonna have a positive spin on. I have a 4 episode rule that if I don't like the episode after 4 episodes, or in some cases 3, I will not do any more reviews of that episode. So there we go. Yeah, it's not worth it, quite honestly. It's not fun. Sure, it might be fun for you guys out there watching it. It's not fun for me. It becomes stressful, and then it just becomes a big bitch fest, quite honestly. And quite honestly, you don't need to bitch about everything on that. Sure, if you're gonna bitch about 1 or 2 things, yes, I bitched about Tiny Lobo on Krypton, which people take that I hate the show. I don't hate the show. I just don't like the guy who's playing Tiny Lobo on Krypton. I think he ruins it. Yes, I may spend an inordinate amount of time talking about him and bitching about him on that podcast, but it doesn't mean I don't like the show. You're focusing on the wrong part of it, is what's going on. Pen Farm Girl says, Dennis, I think we all completely understand, but the Titans and especially Venture Brothers reviews were nothing but laughter and what we meant. Yeah. Um, Titans was funny, I have to admit, because of all the dick jokes. And yes, we went out of our way in order to come up with dick jokes. I used to sit there at work, I mean, on my free time and work on dick jokes for Titans because that's how bad it was. And Venture Brothers, I had to do a lot of extracurricular research on that one because if anything, Venture Brothers fans are almost as rabid as Rick and Morty fans, and they will eat you alive if you don't get shit right or if you mispronounce something. So, yeah. Uh, Dante S says a lot of YouTube complainers. I enjoy my "don't recommend anymore" button. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree with you guys. There were a lot of dick jokes for Titans. A lot of dick jokes. Jody says she was also on Penn and Teller Fool Us. Check out the episode she was in. She was also quite talented with magic too. Very Zatanna-esque personality, upbeat. Nice. I love Penn and Teller. I've seen Penn and Teller live. Oh, I would say almost 10 times now. And every show is different for me that I've seen them in. And that's rare for a magic act and a comedy act for that matter, that every single show that you've seen them in is different. I actually used to have posters from them, like small posters that they had signed for me on different occasions. And they are the greatest guys. I mean, the nicest guys. And Teller does talk, off stage. It's pretty funny. He's actually they both live in Las Vegas, and from what I understand, he's really big on the city council board, if I'm not mistaken. Teller. So yeah, my favorite one, Jody, by the way, with Penn and Teller, was UC Davis. I had gone to UC Davis briefly, and they did a big thing in the auditorium. They did a show in the auditorium there. Um, and it was basically a working out the kinks of their stage show is what it was. And one of the acts was Teller with a rabbit and a tree shredder. And that he was supposed to, supposedly throw the rabbit into the tree shredder, and it puffs out into like cotton and whatnot. And he has a table that's there. It's a small little table, and of course, everyone knows the rabbit's hidden inside the table. It's not inside the hat that he throws inside the tree shredder, and all this stuff. And everyone, Penn is going, well, it's obviously it's in the table. Throw the table in the tree shredder. Let's see that happen. And Teller's like shaking his head no, shaking his head no, and people are kind of goading him on and whatnot. So he's like, he sighs, puts on a faceplate, to protect himself, and he's already got an apron on. And he shoves this stand, this little, yes, a rabbit with a tree shredder, yes. He shoves the table into the tree shredder, and it's loud. I mean, it's just loud. And he gets splattered with blood, just splattered with blood, and you see bloody cotton go flying out the other end. And of course, it goes black, and that's the end of the skit. Of course, no rabbits were harmed in this. We know this. That's just their morbid sense of humor that Penn and Teller had. People started booing because it was UC Davis. Penn actually had to come out and go, "The rabbit's not dead, you ignorant fucks. It's all a trick. No animals were harmed." He actually had to come out and say this to everybody. And I was like, man, really? You guys you can't get that was a joke, that there was nothing harmed. That was the whole point of uh yeah, I don't understand. I really don't. Sometimes with people, it's like, what kind of humor these guys bring. They do push boundaries, things like that. That was one of them. And it actually made it to TV as well. That trick. That was one of it's a pretty damn funny trick, I have to admit. And by the way, the rabbit was in his jacket. That's where it went to. That's where pretty much everything lives, is in Teller's jackets. He's got specially made suits that have pockets within pockets. So he has doves in there, rabbits, needles, pens, iguanas, I think trees, all kinds of stuff in there. I think the Pastors and Narnia is in there too. Why did he actually even have to do that? I mean, come on, no one would have to approve a magic yeah, I know exactly, Jody. That was the whole thing, is why did he have to explain himself on that? He didn't have to. Yeah. But there we go. That's where we're at. Excuse me. Wow. I guess that Dunkin' Donuts was not sitting all that well. So anyway, we're at the end here, and it's a good place to wrap up because I do have to call back the vet and find out what they're doing. Excuse me. If you like what you see here, hit the subscribe button. Also hit the like button. Again, like I said before, you can hit the dislike button. I just ask you to go down in the comments section. Tell me what it is you don't like about the show and give me some constructive criticism. Not that you're ugly, your breath smells, you talk funny, or anything like that, because I really don't give a shit about that. Just tell me what it is that you think I could do better. And I want to take a look at your videos as well and see what you're doing to see how you're doing that. I have my schedule up on suspendedfanimation.com. I also have it up on Facebook, my Facebook page as well. I have a Twitter and I have an Instagram. Both of those, the Twitter and Instagram, are going to be blowing up during Comic Con, which is coming up in a month here. I also have a Patreon account, but I don't have any tiers as of yet. But I do have an idea for t-shirts that I just came up with actually yesterday, as a matter of fact. And it's been revised in my head. I actually know what I'm doing now with it. It's going to be pretty awesome. I'm just going to say, not to pat myself on the back, but it is going to be pretty damn awesome. With that said, Sunday I'm off. Monday is going to be the new season of Legion season 3, and the final season. Also, Tuesday I'm off. Wednesday is Krypton, season 2 of Krypton. I'm doing that. Thursday's iZombie. Friday is Swamp Thing, the now canceled Swamp Thing. I'm still covering it. And of course, Friday, or yeah, I said Friday was Swamp Thing, and Saturday, of course, is Saturday Morning Blast Off, which you're going through right here. So, what criticism? Oh well, maybe if you go for longer. Otherwise, thank you, Jody. Yeah, I mean, I only have so much news I can talk about, and I don't like running at the mouth just to hear myself talk. Quite honestly, I like to actually have some content to it, not just bitching about something or trying to, blow smoke up others people's asses, all that kind of stuff. No, I like to actually have a nice, concise thing, and also people that are watching the videos that have never seen the videos before, like having some conciseness to it as well. So you always leave your audience wanting more, is what they say, and I agree with that. Jody says, "Can't wait for Dennis's coverage of Legion season 3. Looks psychedelic as all hell." Yes, it does. It really does. I'm looking forward to that as well. As I said last night, my nipples are hard. You can actually feel them from here. Um, sorry. We'll catch up with your content. Yeah, Jody, there's a lot of stuff that I have out there. I've done, like I said, Jessica Jones season 3, iZombie, The Tick, Future Man, Doom Patrol, Swamp Thing. The list goes on and on and on. You can take a look at all that stuff. Legion is going to be either awesome or unwatchable. No, I think it's going to be pretty good. I am Saya. We have Noah Hawley's finishing out. He knows what he's doing. He's the only one who knows what he's doing with it. If you go and take a look, I actually have the entire panel up from last year's Comic-Con for Legion, and Noah Hawley wasn't there because he was out directing his movie. He was taking care of that. And the whole cast was like, we don't know, because he's got that whole thing in his head. They will shoot something and they're like, where are we going with this kind of thing? And then Noah takes it back into the editing room and works his magic. And they're like, oh, that's where he's going with it. That's kind of awesome. So none of the actors, none of the producers, anything like that know what the final cut is going to look like because it's all in Noah Hawley's head. And that's why it's pretty damn good. Jody says we could probably listen to you just shooting the breeze for hours, honestly. Thank you, Jody. I appreciate that. I really do. Pen Farm Girl, see, Janice just made us laugh again. That's comedy gold right there. Yeah. Ah, thank you guys. This is the only channel where I've watched every single video at least once. Thank you, Pen Farm Girl. That's awesome. I appreciate it too. I really do. It's a lot of fun doing this. Like I said, I started this off just because there wasn't an area for me to go and talk to people about TV shows that I've been watching. I could talk to people about this at work, but they look at me with blank stares and going, "What the fuck are you talking about? And why are you talking to me? And why are you here without any proper PPE on?" That's personal protective equipment, by the way, for those of you at home not playing along. And yeah, so I, started my own channel on that one. Yeah, and also I like to talk about different things. I don't like to talk about the same three things over and over and over and over and over and over again. So I like to switch things up every now and then. So yes, and Legion is art. It is definitely art. It's the first comic book show, I think the first full-on comic book show that I've seen on the air that looks like a live action comic book. And then of course Doom Patrol just said, "You know what? Here, hold my beer." Uh yeah, so damn, that's all I can say. And Aubrey Plaza, yes, Aubrey Plaza is I wasn't a big fan of Aubrey Plaza until I saw her on Legion and I was like, "Holy shit, she can act." And she's doing an awesome job. I mean, just an awesome job in this. I heard that she really gets shortchanged in the new Chucky movie, Child's Play. I heard that she's in it for like 5 minutes total, and she plays totally bland character. They could have gotten anybody to play. I am Saya says there were a lot of scenes, if not episodes. Well, I have no idea what anything meant, but if Noah explains it eventually, it's going to be awesome. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I was hearing something weird there for a second. So there we go. Yes, exactly, Stormy Scott. That is exactly what I'm talking about. Actually, change up the last one for Miss Marvel, and you've got the trifecta right there. Uh, so, do we lick the likes here? We pet the like? Yes, you can do all of that. Also, if you want to see when I'm be on live again next, you can hit the bell. If you've already hit the bell, don't hit it again. It will unclick it, but you can go into the bell settings and get as many or as little notifications as you want. And it's still a 50-50 shot that you get notified by YouTube. It really doesn't happen all that often, but sometimes it does. Oh boy, the opening scene of season 2 finally is probably one of my favorite scenes all time. Yeah, it is really, really good. Really good. Yeah. All right. With that said, for those of you still on the fence about joining up, take a look. There's gonna be a video up here that's especially for you. Take a look at that. And if you like what you see, hit the subscribe and hit the like button down below. I'm gonna let you guys go for the day. Have fun. Have a good Saturday or a Sunday for some of you. I don't know if how far ahead in the future you guys are, or a Kwanzaa kind of day. I guess I just made that up, but I don't know. With that said, I'm gonna let you guys go and don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Thank you, everybody, by the way, on the chat who came in, and also you at home that are watching here on video as well. Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may find out that AT&T does not think that your show is actually up to snuff and can be changed radically differently. Thank you, everybody. Have a good Saturday.